Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As we're just setting up for the next match, we just wanted to have a little bit of a yap. But with me now is Direwolf, my co-caster. Hello, Direwolf. How have you been? Good to see you again.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for the nice introduction. I guess the people heard me before when I was sharing my grandpa DBDL stories from 2020, as we were heard during the break. So this time, officially, welcome in, everyone. Good to see you, Calamity and Infinity, playing next in these playoffs. And oh my God, Calamity and Infinity is going to be a really, really close matchup because we have already seen what happens to an absolute favorite role like Eternal when we are coming out with these individual Halloween balance sets, shaking everything a little bit around. And I feel like the gap between Calamity and Infinity is a little bit closer. It's not so clearly distributed. So this should be an absolute insane head-to-head race.
Yeah, an absolute contest. And for our Halloween sets this game, we have Scratch Mirror Myers. So that is tier 1 Myers. And we have the special Spirit set. No packs allowed for the tier 1 Myers set. I might just pull up the balancing, unless you know off by heart, Dire. Could be quicker. Excited for the Scratch Mirror Myers. The jump scare Myers, I just in my own games get absolutely terrified. I don't know, manifest him around the corner whenever I'm thinking about it. So I think that's going to be a really entertaining set. And then for the Spirit game, struggling to find it here. Hold on just 1 second as I scroll up.
Yeah, while you're mentioning the Spirit, touching maybe real quick on this very important rule that we have, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are taking your notes, get your pen out and remind that for later. Because we are going to see haunted grounds being brought by the Spirit, and the survivors have to cleanse the hex totem before the first generator is popped. There is no chance to take the haunted ground later on in the trial. You can certainly go for some generators on 99, but you must make sure that you are cleansing haunted ground at the beginning of the game. This is the special Halloween challenge, basically, to make it a little bit more scary. And I feel like, Zach, this has some probably the most unique touch to Comp DBD that we have seen, giving the survivors a special objective to do.
Yeah, a special challenge. So it might lead to some interesting scenarios. We'll see. I've definitely had some scenarios where my teammates cleansed haunted ground as the killer's mid-swing. So it would be really interesting to see if we have a scenario like that coming out of nowhere with the down. Yeah, really interesting and sort of dynamic rule, especially for Spirit. And like you said, we haven't seen it before. So yeah, that might sort of change how the game is paced, from the start. Like, they're not allowed to do a gen. Whether they maybe decide to 99 a gen or 99 2 gens, I have no idea how they decide to play it. Maybe just they scramble the whole team to go find that totem. I imagine at this level of play, they know where all the totem spawns are. But yeah, that'll be later down the line. But we are loading in to our first game, and I believe it is the Pinhead set. So we have the Cenobite. Not sure of the map, so it is a bit of a mystery. So we'll see what awaits us as we load in to the match. Yeah, Cenobite, a very, very common killer, I'd say, for this setting. Definitely a lot of plays to be made, and those pesky chains getting onto the survivors in chase. We'll see how it's played as we load in.
I think the good news for everyone is that the tier 1 Myers is guaranteed for today, regardless of how this best of 5 is being played out. We are having the Cenobite here on a very classic map, we could say season 9 balance being used, kinda going here onto the Auto Haven environment, and then later on for the second set, these two teams decided that they want to have the special sets later on. The Pyramid Head also hasn't been around too often in the comp setting yet. Infinity is one of these teams that really love to touch on that killer. First Hex Totem already going to get cleansed. It's the Undying to protect that blood favor. We've seen throughout the day how much value you can gain from that, together with a Rapid Brutality here, which is usually more a perk that we see on Doctor, as there you are not really into building Bloodlust, and it seems like Obi does not intend to have Bloodlust in this set here either, decides to go with a 5% of extra haste after hitting a survivor, and therefore getting rid of any chance for Bloodlust. And Blood Favor already removed from the trial. Pretty big move here from Team Infinity. You basically wasted a little bit of time on the survivor side by forcing them into cleansing 2 Hex Totems, but the fact that Undying and Blood Favor are leaving the trial with 1 significant impact is pretty sad for our killer here.
Yeah, and you can see that he opted for those chase parks, but hasn't yet got it down. Unfortunately, these chains aren't connecting. It's pulling the chase, but of course, as I say that, the down does happen. But definitely probably not as fast as Obi might want. And we see the first gens starting to pop. Just turning my mic up there. Yeah, so first down's going to be in basement, so not the best position for a first hook. Of course, there's no scorch hook, so he's free to take the wherever he wants onto Obi, and we just see the other generators being worked on. Obi one's popped, the second one is quite close, and the third one is being worked on. Lands a really nice chain onto there, but might opt to instead leave and try and see if Survivor might be going for the unhook in the area, which is going to be Daimo. We see here on the Deliverance Survivor. Unfortunately, last set we had a lot of Deliverance Curse, but it looks like maybe he's breaking that with this little interaction here. Obi not opting to stay in the area, so you can see he has started chase onto Karma there, but no, he smells something fishy and goes back to the shack. And the resetting is very fast. Wow, the We're Gonna Live Forever. Oh, the Will Make It, and I think there was Resurgence actually, so that might be why it was so fast. As he lands in one, but no one's going to be, no trades happening. So there's going to be the Deliverance secured and a chase onto Shack. Pretty safe spot for Daimo.
Now here a little bit of a run still coming out from Daimo. Is he able to pull the killer all the way? And that's the case right here. Even though being on this very tricky TNL, he's able to make a significant amount of distance. I do think our killer was shortly mind gaming with himself. They're very unfortunate because Daimo should have been down kind of a while ago. This is the third generator now that is going to pop. Only now the second hook stage going to be ready to go. The difficulty also for our killer, usually you're trying to cut down the survivor team to 3 survivors as quick as possible. This has been successfully denied by Team Infinity here. Doc also getting the reset, so no longer in danger, and we are already working on that final generator. As soon as the chains are starting to come out again, FireUp is taking the responsibility onto that, getting interrupted here a little bit, taking the box for now. Deliverance coming out with Daimo as well. As you mentioned, Zach, the advantage that Infinity has had planned for themselves really coming out here. Now the chase with the box, that's big. If we are able to down that survivor as quick as possible. FireUp struggling here with 4 chains overall, 1 from the standard power and 3 being applied with a good mind game here as well. FireUp going onto the hook now, 2 minutes 20 on a survivor again, but we are seeing that the hook is happening on the generator where 2 survivors are currently trying to get progress in, and that's a good interruption here for our killer. You can definitely make something out of this.
Yeah, finding that generator with the progress and hooking next to it is definitely good to slow down the pressure that is currently on him. And the chain hunt as well, just really interrupting them in general as they try to run away. Chasing onto Doc now. The only healthy survivor on the map might not want to commit it yet, runs away. And they get the unopened reset. Gonna opt to reset here. Smart move, and the chain hunt has ended, so unfortunately not able to capitalize on that little scenario there. Trying to see if he can find the reset, which he does, and he sees Karma there injured. Might opt to go for her. Gets a tag onto the Adam. Fire up there. Gonna chase around this hill. And we do smell a balanced landing here. Misses. Oh no, he does hit that chain. That looked like it missed for a second there. Gets it onto Renato, and yeah, I think it just the survivors being in the same area once has caused a little bit of indecision for Obi about who to go for. Of course, ideally it's better for the survivor team to have the person already hooked, chased to deny more stages. But he is in quite a safe area. He's got this fellow pallet here. And the last gen does pop. So I was on a speed run with these generators, and yeah, they're playing really well, and unfortunately he's not able to find those quick downs that maybe he needs. We do see Noed active, so could still potentially turn this around, try and get some more stages before him. Gets it down to opts to slug because he does have Lara in quite a dangerous position. Oh, but Doc's going to come in for the body block, but I don't know if he knows about Noed. He's going to go down, so that's 2 slugs, and he sees the last 2 survivors as well, so I think this might be gone very badly, actually, in this endgame, managing to clutch out a little bit.
Yeah, the Noed really not coming in clutch here anymore, as Fire Up is not able to make it out of the door, though. That's very unfortunate. It looked so strong for Team Infinity. There was even the possibility that 4 survivors are walking out of the door here. It is a little bit of a setback for the team, yet I think Infinity doesn't need to worry too much about losing this survivor as well. This would be 5 stages on 3 individual survivors, something that you can really live with for the upcoming trial, as your win condition would technically be just getting 2 kills, which is something that you can achieve here. Obi catching Daimao, though, who went back into the trial. Chain is not going to land, and as Doc and Daimao are both injured, I do think we shouldn't take any extra risk. We should just make sure that we are getting out of the door here. Doc seems to agree with that as well. Getting the door open and ready to go. Daimao, though, still in the trial, at least lurking for the chance of a potential unhook in case the killer does move too far away. And it does make a lot of sense, though, as we have seen that Doc was still working on the exit gate. So you want to work a little bit as bait, but you need to make sure that you are not overcommitting that. We have to save now in the distance. For that, in exchange, Daimao is going down, the survivor that has also just 1 hook stage so far. So Infinity, with this greed in the end game, definitely handing out 1 additional stage to the killer. Sometimes it is the best way to just take what you got, moving out of the door. This way we're having it up to 6 stages on 3 individual survivors, meaning that 2 kills won't be enough anymore. You will need 2 kills and 1 extra stage. Yet I think when you're going into the Cenobite set and your survivor team is telling you you have to score 7 stages, I feel like this is something that you can definitely live with when you're the killer.
Yeah, and just touching on that little endgame scenario there, the unbreakable on Daimo, actually allowing them to get up. And in that situation, I feel like you do just need to instantly leave. I mean, you know, the killer has Noed, so even if you reset, it's still a trade. So I felt like maybe they could have got a better result there, allowing for that down onto Daimo. But yeah, I think that a very winnable condition going into this return fixture. Yeah, pretty standard stuff, I think.
Yeah, I mean, when we are looking also on the team that is playing, right, I feel like Calamity here, when you are coming into it with your pick and the expectations that are laying on you, I would like to remind everyone Calamity is our top 3 team from the season 9. And when you are saying we are playing the Cenobite, and when you are also saying we are playing the Cenobite on the season 9 balance, at least when we are talking about the map, then you are definitely setting the tone of saying we are confident on the Cenobite. We have seen Cenobite during the season 9. We were successful on the red shop. So this is why we are basically reviving the Cenobite from season 9 here. And when we are then comparing how the result actually played out, I feel like we are far away from what should have happened when we are talking about the game plan for Calamity here. Because if you are saying Cenobite is our killer, we are absolutely smashing it at the moment on the red shop, then you definitely don't want to send your survivor team saying that we can only afford 5 stages, because 6 would already be the tie condition in some circumstances when we're talking about 3 survivors here. And this is something that Calamity, though, is pretty good at. Whenever they are facing a difficulty, I feel like Calamity is a team that starts to shine. Yet the dangerous fact is that Infinity is a team, once they are having the upper hand and when they are having the advantage, they become very dangerous and they are like surfers riding the wave of motivation. So I'm not too sure if it will be easy for Calamity to make a comeback here.
Yeah, I have to think if the build had something to do with the quick progression on that game. You saw the rapid brutality and blood favor, and the blood favor unfortunately didn't really get any value for Obi. And so, yeah, I mean, when you opt for chase packs like that and unfortunately not able to get any value from them, you kind of have to expect maybe the game's going to progress faster than you would maybe want. And yeah, unfortunately, like the result not being maybe what they'd expect, it is essentially going to put pressure on the team. But the return fixture, as we're just setting up the lobby, we'll see how it plays out. I think very doable. We'll see. Yeah, Diet. Shaky start, I think. So we'll see how they answer.
One thing we definitely have to say, and this applies to Eternal and Severance as well, they are incredibly fast when we are talking about the lobby setup today. I guess we also have to give a shout out to Behavior because we haven't experienced any server issues and lobby crashes today. But these teams are definitely very well prepared. And a shout out to me as well, just because I feel like shouting myself out here. We are going into the next game, trial number 2 between Infinity and Calamity. Mark my words, ladies and gentlemen, Infinity is a team that has been for years in the competitive scene. They are sometimes flying under the radar, just as Severance. A lot of people are not aware how strong this team really is. They recently made the cut again to come back into DBDL. And it's not because I know Infinity for a long time and consider some of their players friends. They are really strong. And please don't tell me, Doc, that we loaded into the wrong map. We are going to check this now by our wonderful producer. Checking the match details, and we loaded into the Temple of Purgation, which is pretty bad now for Team Infinity. We were just talking about how strong they can be, and yeah, there's the half of a hook stage penalty onto that. Yeah.
Not ideal. Not ideal at all, unfortunately. But that just means he's going to have to not 4K, but definitely harder now or just a slight bit harder to get that win condition. Just half a hook stage. Surely it's fine, right? We'll see. Fingers crossed. As they just restart and just reset that lobby. Yes. I felt like this is a bit slower compared to the fantastic start we had with the quick load-ins, with no issues, like you say, no bugs, a subtle foreshadowing potentially, maybe. I had my internet problems. The stream had your twin story.
Yeah, I mean, guys, if you want another Grandpa Dyer story from the old times in DBDL while we are here, then we're definitely up for it. The problem, so let me tell you what's happening now, ladies and gentlemen. So we loaded into the wrong map, which is basically failing to set up the match correctly, which is the killer. Now you might say, well, it can happen that someone forgets to set the correct map. Why would you penalize that? Well, keep in mind when the survivors had perk builds prepared and they are also setting them at the beginning, they are practicing with them. And when you are loading in and you are having the map basically wrong and we need a restart, you are able to see the survivor perks. Now, this doesn't mean that Doc just set the wrong map to see the survivor perks. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to explain why we need a penalty onto that. Because the problem is now the survivors of Calamity, they can change their builds. They can either switch it up across the survivors or they can make completely new builds. But then they have a little bit of a disadvantage because they are not playing 100% with the builds anymore that they practiced throughout the week. And this deserves to be penalized on the killer side when you are forgetting that. So half of a hook stage penalty is coming out for Infinity here. In most cases, it doesn't cause too much, so half of a hook stage penalty is not too bad. Yet, we have seen in the past that some teams went on a tie, and then the tie is broken in favor of the team that followed the rules. So, yeah. I also feel like I cast a curse that a little bit because I was just talking about how quick and well prepared the teams are, and 1 second later, we're loading into the temple. So sorry, Doc. Sorry, Infinity. Yeah, we hope that we will not spend an infinity on this matches being set up screen at the moment because the players should be ready to go any minute. Of course, we are giving Calamity a little bit of time to adjust their builds here. They can make a decision how they want to do it. And of course, they also have to double check all their builds because when you are now swapping items, when you're swapping the perks, you really want to make sure that there's no misunderstanding and out of nowhere you have 2 sprint bursts, etc. So we're giving them 1 or 2 minutes. From that, Zach, maybe we just talked about it. It might be hard to come back for Calamity. Now we have a little bit of a longer break. We have a penalty. We have the killer build revealed to the survivors. Seems like things are looking a lot more optimistic out of nowhere.
Yes, and maybe not in the circumstances that you would want, but nevertheless, it has happened, and we are, I believe, loading in. Yes, so, of course, a little bit of a delay, but the team managed to sort things quite quickly, which is always great. And hopefully we see the correct map this time. And I'm excited for this match. Again, 2 teams, like you said, very close in maybe matchup and expectations-wise of performance. So, yeah, we'll see. As we just load in here. And
it is RPD East Wing that we loaded in this time. Let's hope that Doc sent us to the right map. And the answer is yes, Surya on the red shop, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very good work here by the killer, getting us into the correct environment against Marco, Rocket, Oscar, and Hein. Very dangerous survivor quadruple. Only Laser not playing for Calamity anymore, as he is pretty much done with Dead by Daylight. Was the captain originally for Calamity, but the rest of the team stood together after Season 9. Got Doc on the team as well. or had Doc on the team in the past. Now Doc is playing for Team Infinity, but so we are having them across the very strong players. Calamity always scrimming against the top tier players, considered one of the top 5 if we are talking worldwide about the comp DBD skill level. And Oscar with a little bit of struggle here with the blood favor. We also see that Rocket was ready to step over for the pallet save, but got alerted by the team member that the Hex Totem is making that impossible. Hook stage coming out relatively quickly and next to the progress generator. So far, I would say this is looking good for Team Infinity.
Yeah, definitely a quicker start. And the unhook comes through quite quickly. You can see we've already got more value from Blood Favor than we saw last time around. And so making full use of that perk, showing its strength, and may lead to a quick down here onto Oscar. And he does get the down. Very, very quick follow-up to that unhook. But the decisive strike going to prolong this chase just a bit longer, as he potentially may opt to go back to Crane here. And he does. And yeah, just a bit slow down. You can hear the gen progression going. Just trying to slow down this second hook as much as possible. Gonna go up and mind game this a little bit. And yeah, he does manage to successfully mind game that, and gonna run edge map now though, because there is nowhere to run for Oscar here. So just trying to waste as much time as possible. We see Hex Totem cleanse in the distance, and first gen Pop Knight would hope a second one is on its way.
2 gens completed on the side of Calamity. They are definitely getting the efficiency in. Oscar also on the second stage. This is a little bit of a difference that we see to the previous trial. The killer this time opting to go brutally and focused on one survivor, trying to get them out of the game as quick as possible. On the weaker killers, it is sometimes difficult to go for the tunnel out strategy, because sometimes you're done with the tunnel out and then you're basically already in the end game. So it is really important that you are getting these hook stages together quickly. But Oscar only has 30 seconds left before the elimination, so Doc definitely not wasting any time here. Trying to scout the area, potentially hoping that he's finding an incoming rescuer early, that he can chain them, that he gets a free injury, can turn this at least into a trade to take the advantage from the survivor team. For everyone who's new to DBDLeague, the survivors are not allowed to self-unhook with the camp meter. The only time you can attempt a self-unhook is when you have deliverance ready to go. So Oscar will need a team member to come in for the rescue. And as we have seen, Rocket teaming up with the others for the reset, and our other survivors scouting the area in the distance. This is just a free elimination, Zach, with almost nothing coming out in exchange. No additional generator. Calamity losing the progress here a little bit.
Yeah, no answer for that elimination. And yeah, you would want to be on gens if you're going to leave a survivor on hook, but the resets completely slowed down the game, and already found Rocket, and he's already injured after getting reset about 20 seconds ago. So that decision is now just completely negligent. And yeah, it's just going to continue to chase. He's hitting these chains. He's not missing with these chains. It's very, very nice to see. Comes to this mid-map filler. This is all there is in the area, I believe. As he tries to bloodlust his pallet. He wants to probably zone him to the Crane side, which he does. We'll see if Rocket can continue this chase and prolong it a little bit longer. Does have another filler pallet here. I'm going to drop that as he plays around. But he gets hit over the pallet with the slow vault. That is unfortunate. And a nice quick down there. And we have to hope, yeah, you can see in the distance there, Survivor on the gen. Another one over there standing by a hill. I think probably was working on something as well. Yeah, so just pop that. And yeah, I do wonder what progression. Yeah, so 60% on this generator here, with 2 gens remaining. Rocket, the Deliverance survivor, gonna unhook himself. Obviously being self-sufficient, that's probably why no one was setting up for the save there and just prioritizing these generators. Does smell a little Dwight in this area, sees the scratch marks and confirms that he is there with his power. As he chases up towards Crane. Of course, pallets used in this area, not the best place to be. Just going to play this tile, and a gen pops that is going to be a chat gen. And yeah, so the probably, I think the outlook for the game is still okay, considering one generator is left. Does spot, I believe that was Rocket there, the injured survivor, using his deliverance so broken. No reset happening. Doesn't manage to get the power chains. Marco going to be off in the distance, cleansing the box. Going to stop that chain hunt. And this last generator you see has about 70% on it. So if Rocket can last here, that is probably going to be a pretty good scenario. Only 4 stages on the table at the minute. So going to need this kill, but doesn't decide not to commit. Smells the generator over here being worked on. And yeah, so still I think a chance for both sides to take the win. I don't think it's over quite yet, though.
Absolutely. It is very balanced at the moment. Oscar has been eliminated very quickly, and usually you would be on the side where you say, okay, Survivor eliminated, 3v1 scenario now. That's a huge disadvantage for the Survivor team, but Calamity, after losing Oscar, they really started to shine, I feel like. Maybe Calamity needs an eliminated team member, so they're getting angry, and then they are starting to absolutely play out of their minds, but you really couldn't tell that the Survivor team is in a worse position now, because they lost a team member, Marco, Rocket and Hein, playing absolutely wonderful here. 2 of them are injured. When we are looking on the score, ladies and gentlemen, we would need 3 additional stages, and the survivor Hein that you are having here right now, he is the survivor that would be the fresh hook, so this would bring us to 6.5 and would be enough to score it, but the team knows that as well. Dwight is already coming in, protection by Rocket is coming in, so they are trying to get this team member out of the door here. If Rocket would go down, we are not going to have enough for the win. Rocket onto the floor here, Calamity throwing everything in as good as they can, and this is going to be a very, very tricky situation now. Fine. Together with Marco over here, so we are just having them escaping, meaning that we have 2 more stages on our survivor, and that's going to be a clean 6 if I'm not mistaken, and the penalty is not even going to come in clutch, as we have 6 stages on 2 individual survivors. So you will see a 5.5, and it looks from the first glimpse like the penalty did a difference, but it is also win condition number 3, counting the individual survivors hooked, that is coming in clutch here. So we are going to see Calamity actually taking the win here in this trial. And honestly, I'm so impressed by this comeback by Calamity. It looked really bad during the mid game, especially when Oscar got eliminated so quickly, and with the direct comparison, we really saw how one killer was able to go for the tunnel out and the other one didn't. But Calamity didn't seem to be impressed by the tunnel out at all.
And you riled them up and essentially led to them absolutely locking in. You kill our teammate, watch this. Let me complete all of these generators and escape. Really well played, to be honest. Yeah, really good. You can just see, even with the slow start, like you said. Yeah, I felt like the games were sort of flipped on the head. Like the first game, you didn't get much pressure, and then he brought it back. And then the second game had a really bad start, and then they managed to just sort of claw that back. So sort of working in unison a little bit. But yeah, really, really good stuff. As we prepare for the next match, it is going to be an Executioner game, the Pyramid Head. Another one I'm really excited for, because it is about getting those M2s through those walls, see if you can hit those targets. Maybe you consider a more weaker killer, but definitely a fun one to watch, I think. So I'm looking forward to see how that one comes out. Daya.
Executioner is also a killer that we don't see this often in the competitive environment. A lot of teams do not enjoy that you can, for example, go against a decisive strike, that you can deny a deliverance. And there's a lot of things that you cannot really plan, because I feel like there are some killers where you can set up a certain strategy, but the strategy to not step into this power of the executioner is really difficult, right? So you cannot really plan around this, and then losing your decisive strike, losing your deliverance, anything that you prepared for your match is really frustrating sometimes, and leaves for the teams a lot of unplannable in aspects on the game. And this is not really what you like when you're preparing throughout the week for your match. You really want to come up with the strategy. You want to make sure that your perks are in place, and then facing a killer where it's all coming a little bit out in the difficult time, it's just not what you really enjoy on the competitive stage. So a lot of teams are trying to avoid the executioner, yet Infinity is a team when they are starting to shine. Executioner has been a killer that they picked in various tournaments and pretty successful. Infinity has some surprises that they are bringing out on the stage as well here. We have seen it in the first trial as well. They were definitely on edge with Calamity here. And if we are ignoring the penalty in the last trial, it was only one individual survivor that was missing. We basically had the same amount of hook stages. We had a pretty successful game. So you shouldn't really underestimate Infinity. I cannot say it often enough, because this team is flying under the radar, and a lot of teams, a lot of people potentially say, well, they are going against top 3 Calamity here. They took almost a crown in season 9. How is Infinity supposed to match up with them? But the reality is they really are. And the Executioner, I feel like, Zach, when we are looking at this entire best of 5, the Executioner is the set they need to win. Because if you are now giving it to Calamity with a 2-0, having to make an entire comeback just on the special Halloween sets is not feeling like the best.
Yeah, and I feel like there's so many things that can go wrong with a Executioner game. Somewhat, like you said, with the anti-tunnel and the power, like getting caged can change things for you. So having that sort of in the back of your head to worry about might put a bit more pressure on the team. But again, like I don't know, it's all about sort of the use of the power. If you can get those connections, and get that pressure. But we'll see. As the players are readying up, and looks like we might be close to loading in. Again, I do wonder what the map is going to be. We do not know it. Do you feel like Pyramid Head is a map-dependent killer, though?
Oh, 100%. I feel like, especially for the killer, you really need to know the tiles, the loops. You really need to know where the survivors are most likely going to path. And I don't think this is something that you can learn just in time, a few days before the match. When you are picking this, as Team Infinity did, I really feel like there has been a lot of preparation beforehand. And there was a lot of chases going on, potentially even 1v1 training against multiple players, trying to make sure that you are having this form of pathing, this type of mind game against you, making sure that you are basically gaining absolute confidence for that. And we are returning back to the Azeroths. This time it's going to be the Blood Lodge, which was, Zach, for me at the beginning, a quite surprising pick because it's such a huge map. On the other hand, there are very little tiles where you can actually hide. We have the shack, we have a jungle gym here and there, we have the main building, but the rest is really these filler pallets where you can easily see the survivors. And we also have Marco, the Deliverance survivor, in the first chase, so this is not the dream start for Team Calamity here.
Yeah, and the Blood Favor as well, just completely zoning you. And I don't know if he makes this. Yeah, the Blood Favor is still active. He's going to go down. A very quick chase and very clutch Blood Favor. We did see someone on a totem, and I do wonder if it was cleansed. I don't think I remember hearing. But Deliverance Curse striking again. Pain Red's going to come through onto that generator. And it looks like it was Ruin that was cleansed. So Blood Favor is still in play. Probably the better Hex to probably remain in the trial, I think, just for the nature of this killer. And like you say, nowhere really safe to hide from him, as that first chase was pretty quick. He's just going to be going to the mid-map, trying to search around the area for another survivor. It is unfortunate that Deliverance is out of the game. Unfortunately, one of the curses of the perk, as we've seen on quite a few games, but they're going to pump out these generators, try and get the first couple done, as the killer probably wants to secure maybe a second stage here. 50% on one, and one is about to be completed just now by Hein. Where is Rocket is my question. Oh, okay, so he's been working on a third generator, Fun Bus. So just starting that one. And yeah, good start on the progression after such a short chase. I think they've done well to, I guess, work on those. And Marco about to hit second stage, and just watching from this hill, eagle-eye vision across the map, trying to see if he can find someone in the area, but realizes that the survivors probably want to be doing the gens. Yeah, as he spots out Rocketeer. Not going to connect on that loop. One of those towers where you can't see over, so really well positioned from Rocket there as they are hovering around main. I mean, he's just trying to cut off the survivors going for the unhook. Ideally, they want to get this unhook now because I know there's about 30-40 seconds left on that timer. And having a survivor dead at 3 gens is not great, as we saw last game. Such an early thing can put such a massive amount of pressure on your team. I think they will essentially be forced to trade here. And remember the blood favors in play, so whoever decides to trade is going to be in danger of dying pretty quickly, but nope. Marco going to be the target here for the tunnel out. And the balance landing going to be used over to this for the tower. Again, not the safest place to be against the pyramid head right now. Is going to dodge out nicely on that. Linking these towers really well. Marco ideally wants to be... I was going to say he ideally wants to continue this chase for a while longer, but unfortunately going to go down there. A third generator pops in the distance, and that is going to be the first kill secured for Doc.
Yeah, we really see this clear strategy by Doc. Previous trial, instant elimination, trying to force the survivor out of the game. The same here on the Executioner as well. Successful once again, yet in the previous trial we have seen that Calamity really starts to shine as soon as one survivor is missing, as they are then activating. They also get the full reset here before Doc is able to get into the next chase. Pretty strong for the survivor team, having everyone basically able to take 2 tags, which is going to lead to longer chases, and ultimately longer chases mean more progression on these generators. A little bit of a looping action going on here as Oscar is now able to confuse the killer for a second, but then just taking the injury, moving away. Blood favor still in play. This is going to cause a little bit of trouble here, now being forced to hold W, and then eventually when you are having too much of time wasted on your survivor side, you are forced into difficult 50-50s with the killer power. But Oscar is playing this wonderfully here, even getting the Lithe over towards the Fun Bus. What a perfect chase. Oscar on an absolute run here, making sure that the survivor team is able to strike once more. Calamity, after losing a survivor for the second time in this best of 5, just smashing it into the end game with no disadvantage being taken. 3 stages so far, and I don't think when Oscar is going down here, Calamity worries too much. That would be again 6 stages on only 2 individual survivors, and honestly I'm surprised that he's caging here.
Yeah, me too. Why would you do that? Because the survivor's there for the inhook and the gate's open. I don't know if that was a pro. To be honest, I'm very shocked to see that he decided to cage there. I have no idea why. Why would you do that? So he just completely denies himself 2 stages potentially, because they're just gonna run to. Oh, he's gonna play the hatch, and that's it. And
who told this man to cage? You're not working in a zoo.
Because the generators are done, the hatch is gonna count. I believe.
Yeah, it's gonna count.
Yeah, I think he's just scammed himself out of 2 stages and a second kill. I wonder if maybe that was a mistake. I really don't know what the play was there.
I am in shock.
Yeah, me too. So what is that going to be? 4 stages across 2 survivors. So ultimately, the survivor team's going to be, the killer is going to have probably a much easier time because of that in the next round.
I don't want to be too negative, guys. But in case you're new to DBDL and you never heard the term throwing in DBD, then you can watch this end game. And you basically have to. I mean, the only idea I can make up for Doc is that he really wanted to get more stages in and he panicked. And when you're then only having on your mind, I need more stages, I need more stages, I need more stages, then caging is allowing you to be quicker on the survivors. And I think he was not aware that the exit gates were completely away from him. Both of them were on the opposite side from where he was located at the moment. So this would kind of make sense. But as you mentioned, it was clearly a mistake.
Yeah, and it's totally valid to think that maybe it's the pressure of the match as well, because it is a tournament setting. You are playing in front of people, and these things do happen. But really unfortunate, of course. I imagine maybe as soon as he made that decision, he might have realized what had happened. So, yeah, I think it is sort of a good explanation. But yes, as we go into this return match, setting up for it, Obi needs to get 5 stages to secure the win across 2 survivors. And honestly, not the biggest challenge. I'd say that he's in for a bit of a easier time. We'll see. The survivors are going to need a really good performance to deny that, I think.
Yeah, I think we need a short break to take our meds after being shocked so severely here. We are going to be right back for you. Grab a drink, grab a snack. We are already having the players in, so it won't take long. We'll see you in a moment. Bienvenue à DBDLeague. Welcome to all the Infinity fans. We have Doc, Parma, Serial, and Daimao playing for the French legend team Infinity around for years, but currently struggling a little bit as they have only 4 stages on their killer side after a pretty rough endgame where Doc played Santa Claus and handed a few extra stages over to Team Calamity, and Obi with a dream start here, already getting the injury on the first survivor, followed by the quick down. Again, you heard right, 4 stages we had in the previous trial, meaning 5 stages this time, or 4 stages on enough individual survivors will secure the second set point for Team Calamity here. Survivor team is spreading across the generators, trying to get the pressure in, but with this basement hook and this very quick down at the beginning, I really feel like we are already in a disadvantage.
Yeah, just complete bad luck running past that dull totem, giving the undying vision, I think, onto Serial there. I honestly don't think I've ever seen such amazing value from Undying. I'll be totally honest with you. That is just a bit of bad luck, I think. Not what they need right now, especially with such a difficult win condition. Going to be placing his M2 down at the doorways, and the survivors are going to be cranking out generators. Pretty standard, but they do need to ideally... I mean, did they commit to the tier? Did they commit to the safe here? Did they do gens? It's a pretty rough start, because the killer's probably going to opt to stay here and defend this hook. Very, very, very rough start for the survivors. They are going to get themselves a couple of generators done. This first one pops, and Serial's gone second there. Second stage as the Pyramid Head is going to be acting as door security for the shack, trying to ID the survivors as they come in for the save. And that is 3 generators completed, so pretty good, and 2 stages on the map so far. as the Nia runs in for the save. Karma going to be going in. And I don't think this is going to be a trade. But yeah, the M2, that is something that the Pyramid can do. And unfortunately, yeah, Cyril's going to not last very long and going to get a Mori. Nice view of the wall there. As the Nia runs away. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, the gen progression is pretty good. I wouldn't count them out yet. As Chase comes onto Daimo and he is going to throw that pallet. A little spectator bug on the pallet because of the Mori. And I think that the survivors need this chase to last a long time.
Now the run going on here next to the truck. Daimo needs to basically come up with a miracle. Is able to dodge this first try right here. Trying to do it again. Trying to confuse the killer, but great patience here by Obi, making sure that Daimo is taking the injury. And we already have our 3 stages so far. We already have a survivor eliminated from the trial as well. So getting Daimo onto the ground and then securing the kill would already seal the deal here for our killer. Infinity is trying to hold against it. They are trying to be efficient on the killers. Difficult mind games at the moment for Daimo, and eventually it's coming to an end. We see the cage here as well. I hope that generator number 5 into the exit gates is not going to come out here in this trial as well, but it seems like Obi has a little bit more time for himself, so Calamity should be able to take the win here. Let's see if they are able to do that. A little bit of self caretaking here by Karma, definitely a good idea. Whenever you are only a few stages away from the loss, you want to make sure that you're not taking an extra risk. Dog trying to move around here, dropping the pallet, filler pallet, usually not that strong, but the killer also getting a little bit nervous. We can see instant shots of the power being taken, and Dog playing this really, really wonderfully here. So Infinity, I feel like, is doing everything they can. I just feel like that 4 stages win condition is a little bit too rough.
Oh, and the cage TP's away while he's trying to unhook. That's such a devastating thing to happen, because obviously if the killer, well, how it works is that the pyramid head is too close to the look for an extended period of time, and that cage does teleport away. One of the, I mean, it's been a bit of a curse really for the survivors right now, a bit of a blessing maybe usually if you're playing a normal game. Unhook going to go through, and the reset happens. And like you say, they are playing so well right now, given the mountain that they have to climb to just try and stop these stages from happening. 4 stages currently across 2 survivors, so 1 more stage, and especially onto Doc here would mean the win. So yeah. But Obs to leave, actually. Obs to leave finds the reset. But again, I just, they cannot take any more downs right now. They absolutely need to run this killer, get the last chin done, and just leave. I believe I noticed Noed on the killer too, which is going to be another spanner in the works for them in the end game. Yeah, Obi definitely is chilling right now.
Yeah, Obi here. Oh, wonderful snipe! But then for the people, Infinity throwing everything in now, making sure that they are keeping up the hope for a comeback. And so far, they are doing a wonderful job. We have exactly 4 stages on 2 individual survivors. It would be the tie. You would move forward into the Maya set without handing Calamity the 2-0. The difficulty is you cannot have a single additional hook or cage against you. Karma using also a little bit of an emote here, trying to work as a bait, trying to get the killer into chasing them, into tunnel vision, so that the generators can be worked on. But Daimo is going down onto the floor, and with this cage, it is decided. Calamity going into the 2-0. Very sad for Team Infinity, because I feel like in set number 1, it was so close. It was just one individual survivor that was missing. In set number 2, if we are not considering the mistake that was taken into the end game, we would talk about 6 stages, so 7 for Calamity's killer. And I feel like Infinity could have done this when the win condition would have been 7 stages. So 2 times now they lost very, very close. And this is rough to deal with.
Yeah, very, very rough. But showing what a contest it is, I mean, how close they are in these results just goes to show that they are here to really perform for us. Just unfortunate. I imagine they're just going to play this out, try and get the best result they can for that mindset going into the next set, into the next game, into that tier 1 Myers set. OB going to be walking around. Here's a survivor, injured survivor. And it's going to be Daimo there on the shack side. This generator in the middle, I believe, is the most progressed on the map. So he is aware of it. If they want this game to progress, they might potentially need to start another one. And a really nice M2 there onto Karma to secure another hook. And, yep, very, very unfortunate, like you say, with the close results. And we'll just see if Infinity can bring it back in Halloween set, much like we saw with Eternal and Severance, where they absolutely showed on those on the Halloween sets that they are here to, well, essentially taking these teams out of their comfort zone and able to get those wins. So we'll see potentially, maybe we see a similar story to last match, but definitely excited to see how they turn out. You see the no-heads down there onto Doc, basement hook, and I think they're probably just gonna leave and move on.
Yeah, I think Infinity could try to go for a save here on Doc, just to leave a little bit with a greater result on paper, but ultimately it's not going to be necessary, so understandable that Karma and Daimao are just leaving this trial here. That's going to be the 2-0 for Calamity though, so only one more. And we are already having a decision in this best of 5. Yet, though, it is going to be a very interesting set. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you just joined All Hallows League or DBDLeague, in our Halloween tournament, we are always coming up with some special rules. And this year, we are going to play the playoffs with some special balance, some of the sets even with special rules on the particular killers. So every best of 5 is featuring 2 Halloween sets. The teams can decide when they pick it. Earlier for Eternal and Severance, we have seen that they have chosen it for set 1 and 2. Here, Calamity and Infinity chose it for for set 3 and 4. So a little bit of variety is possible there. Funny enough, on this weekend, we are never going to see the survivor teams split. So we're not going to see Halloween set 1 and Halloween set 4, for example. For some reason, the teams always pick the Halloween sets together. But enough of yapping about that. We have as first of the 2 Halloween sets the tier 1 Myers, also known as Mirror Michael, basically, and you probably have played it in your pub matches as well. The very dangerous Myers that is sneaking up on you because he basically has wall hack with the scratched mirror add-on. He can see the survivors at any given point, and as a survivor, you are very scared. And of course, to match this, we have put the tier 1 Myers on Larry's Memorial Institute, where you can really sneak up on the survivors, where you can come around the corner. And additionally to that, the survivors are not allowed to bring any perks. They have to play complete blank, though the M1 Myers can bring anything. So this is going to be very interesting. A full equipped tier 1 wall hack Michael jump scaring these survivors, and they are not able to have any perks. And Zach, I think we can agree on this. Team communication is going to be tested so much in the upcoming trial.
Yeah, I mean, last match we saw the eternal survivors sort of lurking around the map to see if they get information on the Myers. I mean, this was a tier 3 Myers game, so not the same, but same sort of principle with the undetectable Myers. You want information on where he is all the time. So to see how they get around that stealth, I mean, it is the thing of nightmares having scratch mirrors on this map, because there are so many line of sight blockers. There are so many corners for him to stand in to catch you on those unassuming survivors. Again, as a sort of similar to Sadako with the no survivor perks, because he is essentially an M1 killer who can't get bloodlust and is very slow. Going to be relying on the element of surprise. Going to be interesting to also see the perks used to sort of counter the weakness of the killer himself, and how they play around the element of surprise in the game. But definitely a good map, opportunity for good setup. So we'll see how these teams play it. But like you said, team communication, I think understanding where he is going to mean he can't do anything. But we'll see. We'll see how they play. Just loading in here into this first Halloween set. I wonder what the mindset of the players are like having this Halloween set, especially for Infinity up against it with Calamity's 2-0 performance so far. They essentially are going to have a perfect game.
Yeah, perfect game indeed, especially for Team Infinity. They must come up with something crazy here, especially now on the survivor side. I feel like they just played a very wonderful game on the survivor side on Executioner. Ultimately, it was just too tricky with the survivor win condition, because how they presented themselves, how they were trying to protect the team members, how quick they were with the resets, how good they were playing together efficiently on the generators was honestly really impressive. So if they can show this once more, they are going to have a good trial here. And here, ladies and gentlemen, we see Mirror Michael in action. Obi showing it very wonderfully here at the beginning. You are able to absolutely see the survivor and can sneak up onto them, and this leads to them ultimately being required to have perfect communication. The difficulty about this killer is you have a very short lunge. You cannot hit far at all, and on top of that you are being outrun by the survivors as well. So you have some extra tools here. Interesting to see though, Zach. I mean, for play with your food is very understandable to gain a little bit of speed, but two perks for end game is not what I expected to see.
Yeah, 100%. The No Way Out, interesting. Gonna need to get that unique hook. Well, that first stage on all 4 survivors. So definitely sort of expecting a result in this, essentially getting value from the pucks, and of course Nomad for the end game for that potential clutch last kill. We saw Play With Your Food, obviously he's seen this Renato a couple of times and he has got 3 stacks, so he is zooming right now. The Dragon's Grip as well, I want to say is quite understandable, given that he is undetectable and essentially can potentially get a down on a survivor who wouldn't quite be expecting it. He's playing this tower really nice, but he is very fast right now, chasing on to Daimo here, trying to use that power for the aura reading as he goes around. This is quite a strong loop with that pallet drop. Understands that, so he breaks it, and the survivors are just going to be working through these generators, losing sight of the Michael. So I imagine they probably want to get some more information. Oh nope! So Doc is found in. Going to continue. Still has those Play With Your Food stacks because did not secure the hit onto the ace. So again, going to be fast. But you see it just immediately disappearing. No idea where he's going. Is going to apply Dragon's Grip to that gen. This is quite progressed, and just trying to see if he can get someone just caught off guard. But the survivor's doing a really good job to deny even a health state.
Now trying to catch these survivors. So far, Infinity absolutely on point. When we are talking about the communication here, and very unfortunately this is not going to land as well. Obi trying to catch them, trying the best as possible, but so far it is unfortunately not enough. Serial in the next chase, losing line of sight with the Michael as well, and as positive it looks from the first glimpse for the survivor team, the generators are definitely very, very slow. The first generator only coming out now. This is showing us how careful these survivors need to be, with constant fear that the Michael is hopping onto their back here. 3 stacks of play with your food now though, so we are having a little bit of zooming mirror Michael coming out across the survivor team here, a lot more dangerous. And Dragon's Grip, not entirely sure if this perk is going to find its value, because so far Infinity hasn't made a single mistake as when they were aware where the Michael is located, so there's really the chance that they are able to play this out. There's no way at the moment as well that Michael is going all the way over there to get the value from the Dragon's Grip survivor, so we are just going to see a few pallets being removed here. Though Zach, there also lies the potential for our Myers, because if he's able to remove all these pallets, sooner or later Infinity is going to have an issue.
Yeah, just given that he's got those 2 endgame perks, if you can get as many pallets out the way as possible, then they're going to have nothing to work with against the Snowhead. Is going to get the grab on the Renato off the pallet, and the first hook stage secured for the Myers. We saw under the survivor there, and still got 3 stacks of clothing food, so still fast, still zooming around, and yeah, slow start, but like you said, the gens I think are slow, probably because they're focusing more on trying to get information on where he is, and they can't be on the gens. They need to be trying to secure information on where he is before they work on the generators, and just trying to decide which ones to work on. And we see the David teabagging the scratch mirror aura there, knows full well that he's being stalked, and another chase here onto Ace. Is he going to commit this? I mean, I think he should. No, going to see if we can use the aura reading to catch the trade. And yeah, there it is. I don't think this is going to lead to a health state, because there's a very safe library there to work with. And yeah, I feel like... Oh wow, okay, so he manages to secure a tag there because of the unfortunate... well, didn't know where he was. The Ace going to be chased away from the hook, lands the pallet stun, and are we going to get an unhook come through? The Serial does go second actually, and the Myers chased away from hooks. I'm very surprised they weren't in the area there to get the unhook. We see that they're just trying to do these generators off in the distance. Maybe you just want to prioritize that, but yeah, the unhook finally comes through. They're going to run away, and Doc is dead. That came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting that. Maybe cut them off on their sort of running away, which again is something that he can do very easily with that scratch mirror. So yeah, I think the pacing of the game has changed a little bit. He's got a few hook states on the map, and yeah, going into endgame, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so far I think Infinity can be still really, really happy with their performance. 3rd hook stage coming through at the moment. And for the fact that this is Calamity's killer, it's not going too good yet, but it seems like Obi just needed a little bit of time, removing the pallets, getting a little bit value of Dragon's Grip, and causing a little bit of chaos across the survivor team. And we are instantly having another fresh hook here. 4th hook stage on 3 individual survivors, and the final generator not close to completion yet. We have at least 40 additional seconds, and also keep in mind that Obi is able to see these survivors, able to tell which generator is currently attacked, where's the progress, where's the action, so this is also really going to help. 3rd, play with your food stack once again, making sure that A is taking it as well. I was just about to mention we have at least one survivor who's able to hit tank a little bit in case of an emergency situation, but now we are having the entire team Infinity injured, and it won't be that easy to go for a reset with the wall hack Myers basically. So Zach, what do you think here? Will we see Infinity trying to take the risk, smashing through the final gen, or is it going to be some unexpected downs like the one onto Doc here?
Yeah, I mean, they either commit this gen or they run to the Timbuktu and reset at the far corner of the map. Obviously know where the killer is now because he just got the down onto Doc, and yeah, they're opting for a 3-man reset here just to try and regain the composure after 4 injuries. And that is going to be Doc on Death Hook. 2 stages on him, 2 stages on Serial, and 1 stage on the David. So I mean, considering 2 endgame perks and not really getting value from the Dragon's Grip, Play With Your Food seems to be carrying very hard here for Obi.
Yeah, trying to get the grasp onto the survivor team. They are all swarming around the hook here, kinda trying to get the team member back in the trial. Successful with that, but the pallet is in reach, so Daimao just going down one more time. Is this going to be enough, or do we see some more slugging action? Obi seems to realize that the final generator might be close here, and he also knows that 3 survivors threaten the killer at the moment with the pallet safe. Doc needs to watch out that he's not overextending here. Working as a bait is fine, but not if you're going down, because that would be such a high price to pay. Survivor should be almost recovered by this point, so Obi needs to make sure that he's getting some hits. NPY is taking it. Daimao being picked up in exchange. Good coordination here by Infinity, not allowing Obi to go for his game plan. 5 stages so far. Still feel like Infinity can be happy with that, as this is Calamity's killer set, where they said, we want to play that. And then coming out with 5 stages would be really strong. But keep in mind, everyone, we have a know it and we have a no way out in the back pocket. So Obi shouldn't be underestimated here, and there we go. Wallhack Myers is able to go for the reset location. One of these survivors is going to die. The question is just who it's going to be. Doc trying to greet the pallet a little bit. Obi confident that he's able to pick that, and that should be possible, especially because they now dropped the pallet way too early. So Doc is saying goodbye for us, but NPY and Serial back to healthy. Zach, this is literally on edge, and it could flip either side.
Yeah, and see how close these generators are together. Very easy for him to sort of monitor these with his wall hacks, and yeah, I think that he's managed to control this game really well. We said earlier, all the pallets being used is going to really pay off in the end, and yeah, he's just trying to catch people off guard here. We only have 1 healthy survivor on the board, and he's just going to be able to see who is who, where's where. Dropping that pallet. Renato here. Believe Renato is Death Hook, so would be 2nd kill of the game if he is caught out. But again, I think as far as I know, that is a pretty tight 3-gen for him to manage. And the survivors seem to have got themselves into a bit of a pickle here.
Yeah, Obi really doing a good job. I feel like Infinity was so close earlier, getting that 5th generator done. And hello, Serial. Little bit of a Halloween jump scare here for you. And the other survivor close as well. Yeah, we might see some snowballing happening right now into the 4K here. That would be pretty insane and not the result that we all expected. I was thinking for a second that Daimao greeted the pallet, but somehow it's still going to be the stun here. This is giving a little bit of wiggle room again for Infinity for a comeback. but the 4K definitely in the air. We can almost smell it now, and I think Obi can smell it as well. Going for the slug now. He realizes that he has the pressure. Generator not having too much yet. You also bring the Dragon Script back, so NPY wants to be really careful in case he's not being chased down when going back towards that generator. We have one pallet here actually still remaining in the trial. Pretty surprising, because I think at this point, Zach, Larry's is pretty empty when we are talking about the pallets.
Yeah, literally, probably not a pallet in sight, at least now. We see there's no play with your food stacks. I imagine he probably wants to keep the Renato alive to farm those stacks as he body blocks for Ace. Really well played. Yeah, trying to lose chase, which he does. And yeah, probably pathing back to those generators. Yeah, I think it's very hard with 3 survivors alive, especially 2 injured. For Infinity to bring it back, and it is just even if they get that gen done, there's still no way out in play as well. So Obi's got that back to fall back on if he loses grasp on those gens. Finds the reset. Oh my god, that is going to be dime out down. Unfortunately caught out there. You can't, especially when they're trying to do those gens, they're not able to focus on trying to find where this Myers is. So the communication breakdown happens, especially with one survivor dead, and they don't have anyone to monitor where he is. So they just have to reset and pray that he's not following them with his wall hacks. And yeah, like, it just gets closer and closer to the 4K. And we've seen the 4K one on the Sadako today, unexpected. We might see a 4K one right now on the tier 1 Scratch Mirror Myers, which I don't think anyone was expecting. This 3 gen and play with your food definitely contributing to that.
Look how careful our survivors are trying to figure out where Myers is located, holding the corners there. If only they would know that we were staring them down all this time, ready to strike. Obi finding the survivor now, but the window is definitely going to do a little bit of work here for Obi. Oh, this God pallet here is actually still available as well. So Infinity kept themselves a valuable resource that has to be dropped right now. There was a little bit of time now that the survivor team got from the killer. They are going for the resets, which is definitely understandable. We have seen Obi successfully striking on these injured survivors, so you really want to make sure that they are not able to do that again. 2 survivors in chase at the same time, though, always very valuable for the killer, because then you know that maximum 1 survivor at the moment can work on a generator, and that is also going to be the second token coming out of play with your food. Again, obviously following this survivor to get token number 3 as well. A little bit of hit, so we are having token 2 back restored. And now Obi, though, needs to return to his 3 gen that so far he's holding very wonderfully, and he's doing a fantastic job doing so. Yet he needs to worry that the survivor team is doubling up at the moment in the distance. Token 3 for a little bit of speed going back towards these gens, and they might get it. They might force us into the end game here. They pretty confidently force us into the end game. Here we are, 5 gens done, and now, though, no way out. An entire minute being added here together with the Noed. It might be the speed run of Obi now.
Yeah, the speed of Noed and the speed of the food. Essentially a sprinting Myers right now. And very scary indeed. Gets the second stage onto Daimo, and the totem is over there, so it's quite far away. Sees the survivor crouched. Ultimately, I think he's just going to be running down these survivors, and there's nothing left on the map. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they get out of this. I think that this chase right here is probably the most important stage of the end game. If MPY can last here, he could potentially get 2 survivors out. But with the no way out in play, I'm not sure if it's been activated yet, but yeah, just the injured Renato going back to the hook, and this looks horrible. This looks quite disastrous. So yeah, no way out was in play, so no gate progression, and knows where all the survivors are. Gets the grab onto Daimo. Yoink off the window, and that is going to be Daimo down. David slugged, and Renato probably sprinting over to him to try and get him up. Yeah, so as we predicted, the endgame falling apart a little bit. Yeah, what do you do? What do you do?
Yeah, I was about to say Serial now needs to play a very good hide and seek, but unfortunately we are here with the Mirror Myers, so playing hide and seek will be very difficult, except you're going into the locker somewhere. And that seems to be the case. Obi now needs to make sure that he's able to find that final survivor who just picked up NPY, so we have a good idea where the survivors are. And jump scare coming out, and that should be the final. Yeah, this exit gate is not prepared, and we are going to see a little bit of a meme between Obi and Serial. And whenever this happens, I'm really worried that the killer is blocking a little bit too long, but luckily we are able to not extend it further than 10 seconds here. And that is going to be NPY on the floor as well. A little bit of interaction between the teams. Honestly, Zach, when we are talking about tier 1 Myers, did you expect a 4K to even be a possibility?
I'll be honest, I really didn't. And I think it just comes down to the situation that they found themselves in, almost similar to Nightlight's 3-gen that he was holding on a mid-witch. It is just the circumstances of the game allowing the, like, power of the killer, just, I guess the limitations of the killer really sort of even out with the state of the game. And yeah, really unfortunate. I was not expecting even a kill, to be honest, this game. So to get a 4K is just mind-blowing. 4K at no generators remaining. Wow, what a result for Obi. And I think the pressure is going to be on for Infinity's killer to match that. My goodness, mountain to climb, absolutely.
Yeah, very, very insane. We will take a very short break, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to make sure that we are setting it up. Get a snack for this final trial is what we recommend. And we will see you in a few moments. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to what's potentially the final trial of today between Infinity on Le Killer and the Survivor team with Hein, Marco, Oscar, and the 1v1 champion Rocket. Let's see if they are able to smash it here. Win condition is very easy to track. We need an out on the side of Calamity. If we have a 4K with all generators completed, it would be the tie. And in case a generator is standing, then Infinity is pushing us into set 4, which would be the special spirit in Halloween balance and rules. A little bit of surprising for us is the perk build. We talked about it briefly during the break, this time without you being able to hear us. But lethal, of course, not only for the aura at the beginning, but also to extend the aura time on the Nemesis whenever you are being stunned. But we were thinking, is that really justifying a perk slot here when you are having the scratched mirror? I guess we'll find out together. Doc so far trying to get the mind game out of the way. Successful, eventually Rocket taking the first injury. We are a little bit quicker than that in the previous trial. And interesting also the Hex Ruin, so we should see Doc going a lot for the generators here and scaring these survivors off. And as long as the Hex Totem is standing, this could be really punishing for the Survivor team.
Yeah, good first start, much better than the last trial. We didn't see, I believe, a health state until 3 generators had popped, so already good momentum for the killer as he spots Heine in the corner and can mind game very beautifully there with the scratch mirror. So 2 injuries on the board. And yeah, just going to continue chase. Maybe try and cut him off with the pathing. No opts to go back to the generators. Let's see if maybe there's a reset going on. First generator pops. Sees 2 survivors off there in the distance, and I believe that was the reset that was just happening. Gonna break this pallet here. Continue chase. Never mind. Decides to go somewhere else. See if he can find someone lacking on a generator. But like we said, information might be key here, and they might sort of suspect where this Myers is, and Yep, so he is spotted out. I think there's 2 survivors there, one of over by the cop over there, and this is, I believe, Hyde. On the Dwight, they've managed to fully reset, 1 gem popped, so already I think a decent start for the kill, but they've managed to combat that and just slow the game down a little bit as he continues this chase. And greeting that pallet, not able to get the hit there with that tier 1 lunge and swinging through these pallets like there's no tomorrow. Unfortunately, not going to connect as he opts to leave. Probably suspecting somewhat of some generate progression. I believe Ace just came out of the locker. Rocket came out of the locker just then. I'm not sure what that was, but Ruin has been found. So this is going to be the slowdown stopped. And yeah, I think Doc is struggling here to really find the pressure he needs to get the downs and to progress the game a little bit for himself.
Yeah, now unfortunately the Hex Rune is saying goodbye in this trial, and I must say the efficiency in both ways when we are talking about healing the injuries and getting the generator out of the way is a little bit better on the side of Calamity here on our survivor side when we compare that with the previous trial. We have certainly took some extra time in the previous trial to get this first generator out of the way, and I think little Oscar sitting here behind this thing, or is it Hein? It is. Who is that? It is Oscar. Yeah, I was right with that. Sitting here behind this little tile. Actually, good read that the Myers is around, and we are going to see a very nice stun as well. Of course, now with the Nemesis, we are going to get a token back on the play with your food. We're going to see the aura for a second, but so far I don't see the value of the Nemesis plus lethal just yet. We were able to keep track of the survivors naturally, and in worst case we could use the scratched mirror. So I'm not really sure, as I stated in the beginning, if it was really worth taking an entire perk slot here for this. Nonetheless, Doc is now going after the next survivor, Marco, over here next to the exit gate, able to hold W in time though, so it's going to take a long run for Doc to go for the injury here even, and Doc not expecting the double vault that is coming out from Marco, losing a second generator here as well. Not even the injury, and as we are not chasing Oscar at the moment, just 1 token so far. Really, really strong from Calamity's survivor team. I absolutely like what we are seeing here. Calamity from the beginning today, I wouldn't say absolutely dominant over Infinity, because we have seen very close trials, yet they are this significant step ahead. They are more efficient, they are better on the communication, and sometimes it's just enough when you are a little bit ahead of your opponent, but I feel like Calamity is consistently 1 step ahead. So unless Doc is now absolutely pulling the control back in this trial here, we are facing some issues.
Yeah, and I was just thinking that in his chase with Oscar, we mentioned the perk build. I actually think that the Nemesis is combining with the play with your food, because when he lands those stuns, the obsession transferred, so he's able to farm the stacks as he's in chase. So I don't know if maybe that was the sort of value he was hoping to get. I noticed he was swinging through pallets a lot, so maybe the game plan that we didn't quite see initially. But that being said, he's not getting any downs, so he's not able to even use the perks properly. Yeah, I don't know, it's just gonna progress even further and further as the time goes, and of course understanding that it is a tier 1 Myers, just going to be holding that loop as tight as possible, because it's going to take a few rotations to catch up. Does get the tag, and yeah, I think the killer really needs a down right now. He really needs to get some form of pressure. He doesn't have any stacks of play with your food. He doesn't have ruin up, and he has basically no perks at his disposal right now. So much like the survivors without any perks, unfortunately, not getting any value, not getting any downs. This is just disastrous, I think, for Doc. And you have to feel for him a little bit. Just the survivors resetting and just denying it completely is just a little bit unfortunate to see.
Absolutely, yeah. Survivors currently not giving you the chance to even strike on the killer side, and this is important to mention, right? When we are talking about these mid-tier or low-tier killers, which tier 1 Myers certainly falls into, you are only going to have a good game when the survivors are offering you some sort of mistakes where you can make an advantage for yourself. If they are not giving you that, you can play as good as you want to. It's going to be a tough task. A killer like Nurse or Blight or Billy, they are certainly able to play well and get this pressure for themselves. But with all these lower killers, you rely on the survivors a little bit to give you that sort of pressure above them and this sort of dominance that you can then earn throughout the trial. And Calamity really not doing that. They are absolutely aware where the Michael is coming from. They are having perfect communication. They are not taking too much risk on these pallets. They are reading the Michael well. They are so quick on the resets, and the list is going on, and while they are doing so good with their communication and their resets, they are making sure that these generators are getting progressed. And even here, being in the corner and a little bit unsure where Doc really is located, they are choosing the furthest away corner to make sure that they are going to not take an unnecessary injury here. Generator number 4 coming out, and keep in mind, everyone, just one stage out of the door would be enough for Calamity. They don't need a fresh hook, they don't need 2 survivors, 1 survivor. And if it's crawling outside of the exit gate, would already be enough. Doc now losing the stake of play with your food as well, so going to be back on the normal speed here. Zach, this is looking really sad now for Team Infinity. Oh god.
Oh, he misses 2 swings, followed into the final generator popping. That has got to be absolutely heartbreaking to notice. And he's trying to swing at the window, swinging through the pallet. And I think he just wants the swing. I think you should give it to him. I feel bad. Oh, but yes, playing that really well. And yeah, there's no end game. There's no nothing really to bring this back. So really well played by Calamity to just absolutely deny this. Gonna come in for the hit taken. I believe it looks like a 0-stage game, which is I think what we expected in the first place for this set. 4K, really unexpected 4K that we saw last time, and this is I think how everybody really was seeing this set going. But yeah, that is it. That is going to be it, and that is the 4-man out. Unfortunate, heartbreaking for Infinity to not get that win there. But they played really well considering the close results that we saw in the first 2 sets. I still think they're going to be a strong team, of course, going into the losers bracket. I mean, they've got everything to play for, and Calamity just coming out on top this time.
Yeah, Calamity towards the end, besides the struggle, besides the very close trials, they have shown an absolute blast here. And we need to remember the tier 1 Myers was Infinity's idea, right? So this didn't go too well for themselves, unfortunately. Or am I tripping? No. The tier 1 Michael was actually... No, it was Calamity's pick. Okay, then everything went according to the plan. I was about to say if it was Infinity, then it would be even more sad. But now we can write it in the protocol as Calamity just enforcing the plan here. Yeah, very, very strong. Calamity proving us why they are the top 3 from Season 9, why they are so famous as a team as well, and why they are considered one of the best. Because 0 stage, a flawless game, is certainly just in another dimension. So congratulations to Team Calamity showing us such a wonderful match.